Hi crafty friends, I'm back with another process video. This is again for the wild hair kits, and I am still playing with my September kit. You see, this is how I've chosen to arrange my kit. I got one of those letter sorters, like the mail sorters that you can find at the dollar store or at Target for like a few bucks, and that's what I'm sorting my kit in. It fits right into one of my calyx shelves, and so I don't have to worry about pulling, the kit out the envelope. I can put everything in that cool letter sorter and see what I have. So I decided to make a layout using the cut file of the month, and I was trying to put it on that black and rose gold paper, but it just wasn't working for me, and so I opted to swap it out for this watercolor paper, and that made me much happier. So I used some really thin double-sided tape. I think this is like 1/8 of an inch, and I used that to back my cut file, and all the details for this will be on the blog post that I will have up today also. The blog post will also give you details on how to access the cut file, so if you are a Wild Hair Kit subscriber or you've gotten a kit from Allison, then you also have access to the August cut files and all the cut files so far. So I really like this one. I like the cool geometric background, and I like that it was a full 12 by 12 page. And so I figured I'd back it with this watercolor paper, which I knew I wanted to use in like completely from the time I saw it, and I would go from there. Now, my idea was to put this on white cardstock because you'll notice that the full cut file isn't actually 12 by 12. I want to say it's like 11 3/4 by 11 3/4. But that didn't really make sense to put a white cut file on a white cardstock. So instead, since I really wanted to use that black paper, I decided to mat it on that black paper. And what I chose to do was gut the black paper. So unsolicited scrapbooking pro tip: if you're using a piece of paper as just a mat, cut out the middle. Your paper will go so much further if you do that, and you'll save a lot of paper in the long run. So I chose to cut out the center of my paper. I created a border, and then I used that as a mat, and now I have this like dark edge for my white cut file. Now I printed my photo in black and white, and I also printed it in this like sepia toned, and I chose to go with the more colorful photo. It's still pretty neutral because I'm wearing a white t-shirt and it was like really dark in my bedroom, but it wasn't that stark black and white. So my plan for this layout, since I had all these circles, was to fill some of the circles with embellishments. I figured I'd treat it as like a grid layout, even though it had circles and not squares, and I'd embellish it that way. So a lot of this process is just going to be trial and error, trying to figure out what works in the circles. This sticker gave me a little bit of a hard time because I didn't realize it was separate stickers until I went to put it down. I thought it was just like one piece with the frame and the love you together, and it wasn't. But I eventually figured it out and it worked out just fine. Those stickers are from the Maggie Holmes sticker pack that you saw me use in my previous video and that you would have seen in my unboxing. So I used 2 of the gold foil stickers, and then I pulled back out the black clear stickers, and I grabbed that sticker that says Happy Little Moments, and I wanted to put it in the middle of the page, but since I wasn't really sure where I was going to put my photo and what I was going to do with my title, I figured I'd work on the extremes first, and then once I situate my photo and everything else, then I can fill up the middle of the page. So that was my thought process. So I decide to mat my photo. So I pulled back out that black and rose gold paper, and on the, I'm going to assume this is the B side because the other side has gold foil. On the B side was a bunch of cameras. So I put my photo down on that, and then I grab a offcut from a previous layout. I just had this like pink paper, and it was almost the perfect size for matting my photo. So I grabbed that offcut, and there is pink in this watercolor paper, so it matched really well. And then I pulled back out that dark paper again because I figured since I'm using it as a border for my layout, I can also use it as a mat for my photo. Now what I like to do with my photo mats is keep them really close to my, well, not all the time, but when I'm doing neat layers, I like to keep them really close to my picture and try to center them. Sometimes I do like choppy off-centered layers, or I'll do layers where they're like ripped up and jagged. But I figured for this, since I'm going to go for a more grid style page, I'll try to keep it pretty neat. Now I pulled out that vellum again from the Maggie Holmes collection, and it is so beautiful. Like I'm so tempted to hoard it, but I also am on a mission to use my stuff up. And since I'm on the design team, I should use the stuff and not keep it in my collection forever. So I decided to mat it on the rose gold, and then I put the whole thing on white cardstock. I felt like that helped the rose gold stick out a little bit more, and it helped to ground the whole thing. So now that it's on the white cardstock and I finished backing my photo, I get to think about embellishments and what I want to do next. And a little background for this layout, this photo is actually really, really old. I think when I was going through my phone, I knew for this page I wanted to use an older selfie. And so I was going through my phone and I found this picture, and it's from 2014. And I was like, wow, like look at how, thank God for iPhones first of all, and for digital cameras, because you can go really far back. But it's amazing to see where my life was 4 years ago and where my life is right now. And so I did add some really private journaling once I had finished with the layout and I took the photos, but I knew I wanted the title of this layout to be My Story. And it just worked out perfectly with the Let Your Heart Decide collection, because it had like really good sentiments that I knew I wanted to put all over my page. So, oh, sorry about the shaky camera. My cats like to knock into my tripod when I'm filming, and I try to edit it out most of the time, but sometimes it's really hard to edit it out because I'm doing something while the camera is shaking. Eventually I'm going to have to like lock them in the bedroom when I'm trying to film a layout, but then they'll cry and it'll make me sad. But I hope it's not too bad. It doesn't happen very often. So now I'm pulling out the embellishments, and I have no idea what I want to do. The Pink Fresh ephemera packs are so full, and this collection is so me. Like, I love the colors, I love the sentiments. So I'm doing my auditioning thing. I know I want to do Excel layout, which I don't do very often. So this was a little bit of a challenge for me, I'm not gonna lie. It was a little bit of a challenge trying to figure out how to arrange things on the page so it looked intentional and not like I just drop things in the middle of the layout to see what sticks. And right now I have my photo in the bottom left corner, and eventually I end up moving it to the center of the page. And the reason I moved it to the center of the page was so I could actually use these circles on the bottom. I thought that meant it would look more like a grid layout versus everything on top and then my photo on the bottom. So I move my photo to the middle of the page. That frees up the bottom circles, and then I can finish embellishing. So I pulled out a few things that I know I want to use. I put a few things in the circles already, and I'm going back to that wood veneer piece because I knew I wanted my title, like I said, to be My Story. And I from the second I opened this pack up, I knew that story piece was going on a layout. So now I'm working on embellishing my photo, and I picked up a few things, and I ended up deciding to use that Different is Beautiful piece, just because that's been a struggle. Well, let's have a little bit of a chat. I've always felt a little different, and I did the colored hair thing for a really long time, and then I shaved my head, and then I got really into body modification, and so I've always felt a little, like, I hate to use terms like this, but I always felt like I was a little edgier than what was conventionally accepted as beautiful, especially in my particular family. Like, I come from, my parents are Panamanian, they're like solid West Indians, and when I stopped relaxing my hair and I started growing my fro out, like, I was very worried that they were going to give me a hard time about it. And so I've wrestled with that, with coming to terms with my personal aesthetics and what my idea of beauty is. And I mean, I say wrestled, but I'm only 27. But it's definitely taken me some time to get to the place where I'm like, this is what I think beautiful is, and I like the way I look. I like what I've done with my hair. I like what I've done with my body. I like where I am right now. And that's part of what my journaling was about, was owning up to my personal idea of beauty and telling my story. And so when I saw that Different is Beautiful piece, I knew it had to go on my page. I then added a leaf die cut and a flower die cut, and I put that all behind the Different is Beautiful piece, and then I put the whole thing on foam, because if you've watched more than one video at this point, you know that I love mounting my photos, and it was just easier to put the whole ephemera complex together and then put it on foam, because then I can move it around and try to decide where I want to put it instead of moving a bunch of individual pieces. So now I've decided that I'm going to go with putting it across the middle of the page, and I stick it down. And when I stick it down, that is commitment. And oh, that first moment where you stick it down and you don't know if you want to leave it there is completely terrifying. And then I go right away and I put the story piece down right next to my photo, because we are committing. We are not, umming and ahhing and going back and forth. We are committing here. And so I grabbed the Willow Lane chipboard alphabet just to grab the my from. And I go with a yellow and a blue because I wanted to work with the colors that are in this watercolor paper. And I'm really, really happy with where this layout is going. It's very different for me. I struggle with grid style layouts. I love it when other people do it, but I struggle with grid style layouts. And then I also struggle with using a pattern paper background. So I figured, why not challenge myself and see what happens? Now, since I used that wood veneer story, I figured I should put some wood veneer elsewhere on the page. So I grabbed that yellow flower, and then this piece that I'm putting on the bottom left says follow your heart. And then I layer this, I want to say it's a hummingbird. I think it's a hummingbird. This hummingbird die cut right next to the follow your heart piece. Now I pulled out that other piece that says restless soul, and I'm creating a cluster with it on top. I put it right on top of a little branch leaf die cut, and then I'm going to put some hearts over there too to complete that cluster. And so if you see the way my page is starting to fill up, I have things in a lot of the circles on the outside, and then I have a few, I have that smile gold sticker. This piece I'm putting down right now says Simply Fabulous. It's a corally piece, and then I put a coral and red flower right on top of it. Just so there's not any solo pieces in the circles, I figured I'd make little embellishment clusters and put them all together. Now in the bottom, I have this heart sticker that says write this story on your heart, which I thought went really well with my title, since my title is my story. And I layered it over this, I think it's supposed to be a terrarium, those succulent terrariums, but it had the gold foil in it, and I thought it really matched the Maggie Home sticker, so that's why I added it. And then I grabbed this clear sticker that said words to live by, and I put that in the cluster with the other ones. Now I also grabbed that little clear sticker that said yep, and I put that where it says Simply Fabulous. Now this layout's just about done. I ended up adding a few more things. I wanted to add another wood veneer piece, just as I felt like it needed one more piece on the page to kind of balance it out. And there's this, I don't know if it was a cloud or a banner or what it was, but it's black and white, well, black and wood grain, I guess. And I put it right behind my photo. And now I grabbed this other die cut that's green, and it says page turner, and I felt like it really fit with the whole story vibe of my page, so I glued that right behind my photo. And then I realized that there's one empty corner in the top right, and the rest of my page looks really balanced, so that empty corner in the top right just looked empty. So I go into the dimensional stickers. After I add a few shiny stickers everywhere else, I go into the dimensional sticker pack, and I'm going to grab the sticker that says no beauty shines bright than a good heart, and it's coral color, and it's perfect, and it matches the color scheme of this page perfectly. And then I'm going to layer that over a vase die cut. I tried out a few things for that piece, but I ended up just falling in love with that scallop circle sticker, and I knew that that's what was meant to be there. It fills up the space perfectly, and it looks really, really nice layered. So that's it for this layout. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. I hope you like and comment and subscribe. There are still photos after the break if you want to see some close-ups, and then there are more videos if you want to hang out here with me a little bit longer. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay crafty, friends.